lowest common multiple, or LCM, of 6 and 8. So to do this, you need to know your times tables. And what we're going to do is we're going to start out with a few multiples from each one until we see that we have a common multiple between them. So a multiple of a number is just basically that number multiplied by whole numbers. So I'm going to take 6 off to the side, and I'm just going to show you some multiples of 6. So it will be 1 times 6 is 6. 2 times 6 is 12. 3 times 6 is 18. And so the multiples are these numbers. That's one multiple of 6. That's another. That's another. Okay, these are the multiples of 6. So it's basically when you times that number by other whole numbers. Okay, so I'm going to rub that out. And, whoops, I'm just going to separate them with commas. Okay, so the next multiple, 6, 12, 18, would be 4 times 6, which is 24. The next one would be 5 times 6, which is 30. And, I mean, you can just go on forever, but there's no need, because you're being asked to find not just any common multiple, but you're being asked to find the lowest common multiple. So it's going to be a low number. Okay, so we've done some multiples of 6. Let's now move on to multiples of 8. So I'm going to take that off to the side, and I'm going to do the same process. I'm going to say 1 times 8 is 8. 2 times 8 is 16. 3 times 8 is 24. 4 times 8 is 32. Alright, so these are some multiples of 8, and I'm going to take them, drag them across, and I'm going to separate them by, commas, and then we can erase these. Okay, done. So now, what I want is to find a common multiple, and I can see that 24 is a common multiple, and I don't see any others, right? 6, 8, 12, 16, 18, so none of the others are common. Okay, so therefore this one is the lowest common multiple. So to answer my question, okay, the LCM of 6 and 8 is 24. Okay, so it is the lowest multiple that is common to both of them. Great. Let's now clear the page and move on to example number 2. Okay. So this one wants us to find the LCM of 12 and 15. Now, most of us will only know our 12 up to our 12 times table. So generally speaking, people don't normally know their 15 times table. So what do you do if you get a question like this where you don't know your times table for that number? Well, that's okay. that's not a big deal because there are easy ways to find it. So with 12 you should be okay. You should know your 12 times table, and if you don't, now is a good time to learn all of your times tables because you need them. But starting with 12, I can just say 1 times 12 is 12, 2 times 12 is 24, 3 times 12 is 36, 4 times 12 is 48, 5 times 12 is 60, 6 times 12 is 72. And I don't need to go any further. I feel like this might be enough. What I'm going to do now is come down to my 15 times table and see if I can count. So this is like skip counting. So I'm going to start at 15 and I'm going to skip count. Another 15 makes 30. Another 15 makes 45. Another 15 makes 60. So I'm skip counting in 15s. So 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, and there's no need to go any further. So what do we have? Well, we need to find a multiple that is common to both of these, and I'm going to go through them. So 12 is not, 15 is not, 24 and 30 are not, 36, 45, 48, 60. I guess that is the first multiple that I can see that is common to both of them. So the answer is the lowest common multiple of 12 and 15 is 60. Okay, let's move on to example number 3. So this time they want us to find the LCM of 9, 12 and 18. I guess so. Now we're working with 3 numbers, but that's okay. It doesn't actually change the way we do it. We still follow the same method or strategy. So let's get into our 9 times table. 1 times 9 is 9. 2 times 9 is 18. 3 times 9 is 27. 4 times 9 is 36. 5 times 9 is 45. 6 times 9 is 54. 7 times 9 is 63. 8 times 9 is 72. 9 times 9 is 81. And 10 times 9 is 90. Now I'm going to stop there for now, and I'm just going to start going through my other multiples to see if I can find a common one. So 12 times table. So 1 times 12 is 12. 2 times 12 is 24. 3 times 12 is 36. 4 times 12 is 48. 5 times 12 is 60. 6 times 12 is 72. 4. So number 4 wants us to find the LCM of 20 and 30. Okay, so numbers that end in 0 are fairly easy to work out their multiples. And I just generally do it through skip counting. So 20, 1 times 20 is 20, 2 times 20 is 40, 3 times 20 is 60, 4 times 20 is 80, 5 times 20 is 100, and 6 times 20 is 120. So all I'm doing is I'm skip counting 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120 and so on. Okay, so I'm going to do the same with my 30. So 1 times 30 is 30, 2 times 30 is 60, 3 times 30 is 90, 4 times 30 is 120. I'm looking not just for any common multiple, but the lowest one. And although I can see that both of them have 120 in common, it's not the lowest one. So when I start from here, 20, 30, 40, 60, 60, okay, so that is the lowest common multiple. So the answer is the LCM of 20 and 30 is 60. Okay. And on to our last example, question number 5. We are being asked to find the LCM of 14 and 35. So 14 times 1 is 14, double it, times 2 is 28, times 3 is, I'm going to say 10 times 3 is 30, and 4 times 3 is 12, so 30 and 12 is 42. But if you don't like to use it's a mental strategy called partitioning, by the way, and you know what, maybe I'll just do a very quick sort of showing you how to do that. So in partitioning, what you're doing is you're taking the number and you're saying 14 is actually made up of 10 and 4. And if I'm going to multiply this by 3, if I want to say 14 times 3, it's actually easier to partition it, to divide it, and to actually, because it's made up of 10 plus 4, I should actually say 10 times 3, which is 30, and 4 times 3, which is 12, and then I take my 30 and my 12 and oops, I messed that one up a bit, but anyway, 25, and you want to partition it into 30 and 5, right? It's made up of 30 and 5. And then if you want to multiply this whole thing by 3, no, by 4, no, by 3. Instead of, if you can't do the whole thing by 3, then just partition it and divide and multiply this by 3 and then multiply that by 3, because that's much easier. So 30 times 3 is 90 and 5 times 3 is 15. So add them together and you get 105. Okay. So that is partitioning. Alright, so now let me just fix that. Okay. So I'm looking for a lowest common factor. Do I have any common factors at this stage? 14, 28, 35, 42, 56, 70, 105. I do not have a common, sorry, not factor, multiple. So I do not have a common multiple yet. And I can see that I'm already at 105 here. And I'm only on 56. So I better find a few more multiples here. So 56 plus 14 is 70. Because 56 plus 10 is 66 plus 4 is 70. So I can see that I've got 70 in both of them. So that is my lowest common multiple. So I'm going to write the answer, and you'll notice that in every example I always make a point of writing the answer very clearly at the end. So the lowest common multiple of 14 and 35 is 70. Okay, so I don't know, I feel like this was a pretty short video, but I'm not sure. We'll see when I upload it, but it felt like it was a bit of a shorter video. In any event, guys, thank you very much for coming back and seeing another video. I'm so excited to be making these videos. I am a brand new channel, so I do appreciate those of you